This is a video response to Scouse Cast Bass X. Okay. Sorry about that. Basically, in the video, she says that people look at people and they judge their, the way their kids act, and they think, oh, they're a horrible parent, they're a great parent. And I think she makes a valid point, but she begins talking about ADD and ADHD. The only reason this is a video response is because I don't particularly believe in ADD or ADHD, and there's a reason for it. Basically, when I was in 4th grade, one of my teachers. I did really poorly in some classes and great in others, particularly science. I always did phenomenal, still do phenomenal in science classes, but especially in college. But anyway, so she tells me, she comes up to me one day and she tells my parents, and she says, hey, your son doesn't do good in these classes because blah blah blah, and whatever she tells them. And she comes to me and she says, well, we think you have something. Well, what do you think I have? And then she's like, we think you have ADD, and we're going to put you on medication for it. And the first thing I thought was, well, what is it? What am I doing? So I was like, well, how do you know that I have it? What are the signs, that I have it? What are the symptoms? And she says, I don't know, may have not used the word symptoms. Either way, that's what I meant. And she looks at me and says, I don't know how to tell whether you have it or not, because I don't know anything about it. And this just made me think, well, if you don't know enough about it to know whether or not I have it, or even identify it, as she made clear, how would you even know to send me to someone to see if I had it? You should be sending me to someone to see what I have, or why I'm like this, or why I don't do as well as you think I should do. Keyword there is you think I should do, not as well as I should necessarily do, and not as well as I think I should do. So the school sends me to a therapist or psychologist, whatever he is, and he comes to the conclusion, no, you don't have that. Well, under her recommendation again, the school sends me to another therapist, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, until they find one that agrees with her. Then after they finally find this lady that agrees that yes, that's what he definitely has, because by that time I had just gotten sick of going. I was just like, screw this. I'm not paying attention to any of this stuff they're telling me. I've been to this 5 times, 7 times, whatever. I don't remember how much it was. It was like at least 4, and so I was just ignoring them. They were finding things that would fit the bill after that, though, with ADD. For example, I had after school classes, and they were supposed to be sending me to these things that were supposed to help, and I didn't like going, so I just didn't go. I was just like, screw that, I'm not gonna go, and I didn't go. And they try to say, well, he can't remember to do it. No, I just didn't want to. Or for example, like if I did something, the teacher's like, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to act that way. I would just look at them and say, well, you think I'm not supposed to act that way. I'm not necessarily saying that I shouldn't act that way, or I should. I'm just saying that I'm going to. I don't care. I don't want to be here. Most of the classes, I've thought since grade school that most classes are a waste of my time. For example, art and other things. It was a waste of time to put me in an art class when I don't have any interest in art. So of course I'm going to do bad in classes like that. It all makes sense if you said, hey, he just doesn't give a shit. So moving on from the horrible hell that I went through in school, basically, my brothers, if you look at my brothers are hellions. They bounce off when they're with my parents. They bounce off the walls. They go crazy. They light stuff on fire if they can do it. They throw stuff. They break stuff. They don't care. They don't listen to my parents. They do whatever they want. People look at my parents and think, oh, they can't control their kids, and those people would be right. And most children that I've met and I've seen, that's usually the way that it is. Because as soon as those children get away from those people and they get with people who hold their ground, stand their ground, and say, you're not going to do this, I'm not going to let you, I will hold you here if I have to keep you from burning the house down or whatever they're trying to do, then they're perfectly fine. And You know, that doesn't fit the bill with having a mental dysfunction. A mental dysfunction, they would have no control over what they were doing. Like my brothers, that's what I mean. My brothers would have no control over what they were doing, period. They would not be able to be calm, but they clearly display, and most children I've met who they say have ADD clearly display without medication that they have the ability to be calm, and their parents just won't control them. Well, whether that's just coincidence or just something that occurs in the States, or whether it's I could be wrong. I'm not saying I am wrong. Or I'm right. I'm just saying that it really doesn't appear that way. Um, from the outside perspective, I've also found that a lot of things that I read about it are highly inaccurate. Like our studies for it, it's been years. I don't really recall anything honestly, but I just remember reading things and going, that doesn't fit with the people that they say have this. You know, so anyway.